Howdy, folks. Today we're looking at the Legion of Superheroes Annual Number 2 from 1983 in DC Comics. Here's another bright spot in DC's early 80s renaissance, a long-running series that experienced an inarguable heyday during the early Reagan years, under the guidance of the team of Paul Levitz and Keith Giffen, who prodded the Legion through their era-defining Great Darkness saga and onwards across years of aftershocks. Those aftershocks are very much on display in this issue, which begins with a squad of Legionnaires, Dream Girl and her sister the White Witch, Cosmic Boy, Ultra Boy, and Starboy on deck, Sam contributing to the reconstruction effort following Darkseid's destruction of the planet. After a few pages of terraforming, they have to leave, however, to make a wedding. Princess Projectra and Karate Kid, a fairy tale wedding on a fairy tale world. All is not well, however, as Dream Girl's squad finds themselves caught in the wake of Superboy's arrival from the 20th century, rocketed back in time to ancient Greece, and a time and place that appears under the direct control of the gods of that era. This being a DC comic, the gods being imposters isn't actually the first possibility that crosses your mind, but alas, these aren't the real deal. These are a clutch of maroon Durlans, because of course they are. Despite being an annual, there are a lot of moving parts being set up here that would pay off in the years to come. Certainly, the matter of the wedding and retirement for Projectra and Karate Kid would open the door to significant and tragic developments once the Legion switched over to Baxter paper the year after this. There's also the matter of Lightning Lad and Saturn Girl's child, only teased here so as not to upstage the wedding, but that child would soon become the subject of yet another aftershock from Darkseid's fiendish plot. However, there's a chance you may have noticed I buried the lead regarding this particular comic, considering that this very special issue was not actually drawn by Giffen. No, this comic was drawn by something of a ringer, a British import you may have heard of by name of Dave Gibbons. Gibbons was drawing quite a bit for DC in 1983, including a lengthy stint as regular artist on Green Lantern. This was also the year he drew the giant-sized final issue of The Brave and the Bold, which we even looked at on this channel a couple years back. Like everything else Gibbons ever drew, this is impeccably on model. Every extant member of the Legion shows up for at least a couple panels, and they all look just like they're supposed to. The earliest stages of the British invasion was devoted to the artists, after all. Camelot 3000 was already underway, and this issue of Legion coincided with the 8th issue of that event, even as the first issue of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing still lay a few short months in the future. It was an exciting time to be reading DC Comics, in other words, after years of diminishing returns. Of course, the Legion itself would be in for a rocky period in the middle of the decade, after the Crisis on Infinite Earths tore the guts out of the series, ultimately necessitating multiple drastic revamps. In the fullness of time, it became clear that the franchise's success was a more fragile thing than the company understood at the time.